Welcome to What We Watch When We Drink, a Booze Dancing Entertainment Network podcast featuring lively discussions about movies, TV shows, and anything else that we're watching while we drink our favorite boozy beverages. If you enjoy this show, please subscribe on Apple, Spotify, Stitcher, Google, Audible, and anywhere else you get your podcasts. You can also find us on boozdancing.com, and if you have any questions, comments, show or drink suggestions, email us at boozdancing@gmail.com. We'd love to hear from you.
We are live on a Whiskey Wednesday. This is What We Watch When We Drink, the live podcast. We are back with you. We're streaming this monstrosity live all over the place on YouTube, the Instagram, the Facebook, the LinkedIn, boozdancing.com, our website. And let's see. No, we're not on our website.
No.
We are on our website? Oh, we're not. Let's see. If you have any pithy comments or questions, drop them in the chats on all those different places, and we'll also take non-pithy comments if you'd like.
By the way, pithy comments.
Yes,
that's
sir.
redundant.
It is kind of. Yes. Let's see. As you are well aware, we are the official podcast of record of all duties, taxes, fees, and tariffs. And I'm excited to say that this podcast tonight is going duty-free, tax-free, fee-free, and tariff-free. Now, if we were doing this yesterday or even earlier this morning, I can't say that would be true. We tend to change our minds pretty quick here at headquarters. We're pretty willy-nilly. Lots of the podcasts are hitting you up for fees and all that stuff. Not us. We don't do that. We're here to keep money in your pocket, not some foreign podcast pocket that has been ripping you off for years. So we are tariff-free tonight.
Hey, what's our trade deficit?
Yay.
What's our podcast trade deficit? Do we have one?
We are in a deficit. We're okay with deficits. We run deficits.
Okay, we're good with that.
We're fine.
Okay, all right.
We're pretty negative. And we're pretty negative. How are we doing?
To bring people from other countries because they're interested guests and have things to say.
That's right.
We don't put it all down and build a wall.
So. This is true. That's right. We drink foreign spirits a lot more than domestic spirits. So we are definitely running a deficit. We are definitely a deficit podcast. So there you go. So welcome everyone. Welcome to What We Watch When We called?
What we watch when we drink.
When we drink.
My God, have you been drinking already?
On the Booze Dancing Entertainment Network. I want to remind everyone before we get rolling too far that you can hit us up on all the socials to see my two compadres and their great reviews of whiskey and beer or whatever's in front of them at the murder table. You can give that podcast five freaking stars when you get a chance to, because we still are tariff-free. Tonight we got a lot of fun stuff going on. So before we get jumping into that, how are we doing, gentlemen? How are we?
Living the dream. Just living the dream.
Living the dream. We are living in the dream.
My Phillies played your Dodgers, and we were victorious. It was glorious.
That was a tough series. It was a tough series and a cold and wet series. Yes, that was not good.
The Atlanta Braves started the season without a win for a long period of time, which also made me very happy. Nothing like a team digging a deep hole for themselves to start.
Until last night.
But they can win one game. They just can't win a whole bunch. It's good.
It's true.
I am definitely pro-anti-Brave, so I'm right with you. Baseball season's here. Basketball playoffs are here. Hockey playoffs are going to be here too. The NFL draft's in a couple weeks. We are in, I believe the Masters is this weekend.
Yep.
We are in a total meltdown of sports in America.
It's the perfect storm.
It is a perfect storm. Last week was the NCAA March Madness Final Four men's and women championships. We are, and the Frozen Four for hockey for college is coming up soon too. So we are in the thick of things, and that means a lot of television. So that's what we're going to be doing tonight. Be doing all right. Otherwise, we're good. We're all good.
We're hanging in there. We're doing our best. We're fighting the fight.
We're fighting the fight.
We're here. We're here. We're going to live another day. We're going to keep going. We are a going concern.
We are a going concern, really mostly concerned. Because of what Mike is pointing out.
This is what keeps me going. This is what keeps me going.
Okay. Well, wait. We don't have a theme tonight for drinks, right? Or we don't have a particular. It's a grab bag.
No theme. Nope. It's a grab bag. Right. We have one show we're going to talk about primarily, And other than that, we're going to reach into our own stashes and drink as we want.
Okay.
And should we? Well, why don't we just talk about what we're going to watch? Talk about what we're watching tonight a little bit. The first big topic is the studio.
No drink. We're going to do this without a drink.
We're just talking about what we're going to do,
okay,
and then we'll get into it.
This is the outline.
The outline. Give the crowd the kind of a little intro.
The what for?
That's right. The what for? Mostly the for. The rest of the what. So we're going to talk about the studio, which is now on Apple, new series, and then we're going to go around just talking about what we've been watching and what we want to watch and what we're done watching with. Just a quickie on that. And as we do that, we'll be talking about the individual whiskeys that we've chosen for the evening.
Okay.
So why don't we start there? Let's all pick our first whiskey for the night and chat about it for briefly, and then we can. Michael, you are very, very excited to talk about that
I'll
bottle.
go with Bottled and Bond. Nothing like a 10-year-old Henry McKenna. 50%.
That's a very good whiskey.
It's good whiskey. And not a lot left. So this will be my second, third, and fourth whiskey, too. As I try and finish this one.
Very nice.
To make room in the cabinet for the next bottle.
If you're smart killing off a bottle tonight, that is a very smart.
It's because I saw so little was left. So this could be a bottle.
Yeah.
Where otherwise I would have had a couple bottles sitting here and made no progress. And then the powers that be would complain that I've made no progress and there's still bottles everywhere.
I am definitely on a bottle killing spree. But tonight we have two maybe, and they're not going to get killed, but I'm getting close. And a third one. Ange, what you got?
Well, a while back, I don't exactly know how long ago it was, but Mike and I went to our dear friend Mark Gillespie's to help him clean out his stash of whiskey. So I came home.
Mr. Whiskey Cast.
I think it was beyond a stash. It may have been a hoard. It may have been a hoard of whiskey.
It might have been an armada.
I think the dragon Smaug laid on less gold than he had whiskey.
I don't know what any of that means, but okay.
I don't know either, but it's funny.
He had a lot of whiskey. That's all I know. So his wife implored us that we each take a case home. So I took 12 bottles home. These 3 bottles that I have on my table right now are from the stash. I'll talk about the other 2 later. But for the first one, 10th Street American Whiskey out of San Francisco. Never had it.
Oh, yeah.
Never had it.
Yeah.
It is an STR American malt, 46%. Copper pot stills. Water from the California Sierras, non-chill filtered. That's all I know about it.
And for those who don't know, what is an STR?
Shaved toasted retard.
Shaved toasted retard.
And a little addendum to that. That one is an Impex Beverages product. They are a distributor, or JVS. They are the ones that distribute that.
Oh, okay.
So that's Sam Filmus and Company.
Well, I also picked it because I grew up on 10th Street in Philadelphia. So
look at that.
So I figured, I'll do that. So that's from
Now, the one I chose actually goes back to my first visit to you gentlemen in New Jersey. Michael, you had this, I believe, or had a version of this that, and I didn't know what it was. This is quite a long time ago. This is the Single Cask Nation version of that, of a Stoicia.
Oh,
Stoicia. Yeah. The peated Bunnahabhain. And this one clocks in at 57.7%. It's 10 years old. And it is, of course, single cask. It is one of 262 bottles. And it's in a refill bourbon hogshead. So
that was from the Whiskey Sisters, right, Ange?
Yes, that was
the ones you guys had.
Yeah,
yes.
What was the name of that? What was the name of the? I can't remember.
Milroy's?
Yes,
John Milroy.
It was John Milroy. Yes,
John Milroy.
John Milroy. Yeah, that's right.
By the way, one of the sisters, I think one of the sisters got engaged. One is married.
Whoa, hello.
Yeah. I believe Gabby. No, not Gabby. Was it Gabby?
I don't know.
Gabby Shane was the younger sister.
One of them's Gabby.
Yeah, yes. Lauren and Gabby. Yeah, Gabby got engaged.
Lauren and Gabby.
So congrats to Gabby if she's out there listening.
Are they still in the business?
I honestly don't know. I haven't heard from them forever.
Don't know.
I hope so.
But yeah, that was one of the events we went to with them, and I picked up the bottle, and I was more than happy to share.
Delicious stuff.
Yeah, that was great. And so when I saw that Jason and Joshua and Jess had that one available recently, or not that one, but that
Distillery.
expression,
Sure.
Peter Bunahaben, I picked it up. So one,
How-
two, three, little toe,
How old is that Stoicia?
10 years old.
10 year.
Okay.
Nice.
The other one was 3, wasn't it?
It was 3. It was really young and delicious.
Yeah, I remember it was young.
Really young.
Yeah.
All right. 1,
Shall
2,
we
3.
clink?
Sure.
Here we go. Cheers.
Wonderful. Wonderful. Cheers, boys.
Okay, don't break the glass.
Cheers.
Take it easy.
Don't break the glass.
I figured if I got 1 or 2 or 3 of those in, you could sync them, and then it will all
I'm
sound.
not syncing anything. I don't edit this, man. This is as is. This is a scratch and dent podcast.
We are live, remember? It's all live.
We'll
Live,
clean
live,
that up
live.
in editing. Oh, that's good.
Or not.
Good.
So this is just lovely too. I tried it a few weeks ago, so
Yeah.
it's the first time I'm really going back to
Well, that's
really
interesting.
play with it. And
That's kind of good.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And which one do you have? What expression is that?
It just says it's the
It's just
single
single
malt
malt?
with the STR. Yeah,
Says TR. Okay.
Yeah.
And what's the ABV?
We
46.
46.
Tastes a little hotter. Got
we
a texture to it.
our whiskey club did a tasting of their whole line at the time. Maybe I think it was during the pandemic, so it's probably 3 years ago. And all really lovely stuff.
Yeah, this is different. Different, a little oily, which I like. Very different. I don't know. I'll have to give it some thought. I'll give it some thought.
Speaking of my whiskey club, I just got a notification, and Odd Whiskeys. Apparently, we're going to be doing a Korean single malt event.
Oh,
Who knew there was a Korean single malt?
And enough of those to do an event, right?
Well, it's a brand called Key One, Ki, and then one,
okay.
2 words. Never.
All right. Well, shall we jump into it?
Interesting. Okay. Shall we jump into it? Let's jump into it. Okay. So I didn't know much about this thing.
Neither did I.
I heard about it, and we're talking the studio on Apple TV Plus, and
Yes.
yes, and I saw. I think I heard not Evan Goldberg, Seth Rogen on Howard Stern, and then I read a couple articles, and I said, "Wow, this is." And I don't think I even saw the trailer, and whatever they're talking about sounds interesting, and so I just took a chance on it a few days after it was released, maybe a week after it was released, and I just loved the first episode.
It was great. It was really
so
fun.
It was really funny. So I shouldn't have even kind of jumped into my backstory on it. But Ange, do you have any information on it at all?
What do I have?
I know it's got a pretty good Rotten Tomatoes score.
Yeah, I didn't do like all the stuff here. I'll give you just the quick, just the one-liner.
It's okay.
Follows a legacy Hollywood movie studio striving to survive in a world where it is increasingly difficult for art and business to live together.
Right. So the first episode is the pilot and kind of the backstory on the show, and jumps right into what this thing is about. It's a comedy, starring Seth Rogen, with Ike Barinholtz as his, and Seth Rogen is an executive at a movie studio in Los Angeles, Hollywood, and Ike Barinholtz works for him or works with him as an executive. Catherine Hahn is also in it as the head of marketing, and Catherine O'Hara was the former head of the studio.
Correct.
And she is, we don't know this in the beginning, but she is released. She's let go. Had been there for 30 years. And Bryan Cranston is the, I don't know what his CEO or something of the president or something of the Continental Studios, hires or promotes, is a better word, Seth Rogen into that position. And Seth Rogen takes it, even though he was a protege of Catherine O'Hara, and he doesn't even care about the reasons why she was let go. He just takes the job, and he's from the old world of movies are important. and filmmaking is like an art.
He's a cinephile.
And he's a cinephile.
With a C,
right?
not
and
an
S. Correct. And he wants to make great classic movies, right? But Bryan Cranston and the people upstairs, they want to make money. And they don't want someone in this position to not make money. They don't care about, what does Bryan Cranston say? We're not making films here. We're making movies that people want to pay to go see. That's
Cranston was fantastic.
Right. So there's many cameos in this whole series. And there's been 3 episodes. I believe the 4th one dropped today. It comes out on Wednesdays. So we're talking about the first 3 episodes.
Yep.
It's a wonderful take on Hollywood and about the craziness of Hollywood movie making, and about how does art and art and commerce meet and cross, or does it cross, and how do things get done in Hollywood? The great thing about one of the great things about this, it's of course funny, but it's also got many cameos.
Oh my God!
Folks, it's endless.
The first episode, you got Scorsese.
Oh my gosh!
And your cousin.
My cousin.
And your cousin.
Who's my cousin?
Who's his cousin?
Oh, Buscemi. That's right.
Come
Steve
on,
Buscemi.
Oh, Buscemi.
Buscemi.
That's right. Buscemi's
Come on.
Yes.
Cousin
Buscemi.
Steve.
And Nicholas.
And
Yes.
everybody's playing
And
themselves,
Nicholas
right?
Stoller.
Buscemi. It's Charlize Theron's in it briefly.
Yep.
Charlize Theron, Nicholas Stoller, I believe is a real person.
And what's interesting is I think they're all people that Seth Rogen's worked with.
Yeah.
So he's just asking them to like, hey, I was in this movie with you. Could you give me like 5 minutes? Just give me 5 minutes. And they show up again.
I don't think he worked with Martin Scorsese.
Not, except for Scorsese.
Did he?
Except for Scorsese.
Okay, yeah.
But I think like a lot of the other cameos, it's just like, yeah, this is somebody I work with.
The thing is, remember, Scorsese's got the whole Apple connection because they did Flowers of the Killer Moon.
Yeah.
That's a good point. Yes, that's a good point.
There's all these connections, right?
So we can talk about the episode specifically, and also in the show in general. The wonderful thing about this kind of comedy writing is that it's kind of like old school.
Yeah,
like an old school sitcom.
It was very Marx Brothers to a degree.
It's very Marx Brotherian, right? And it's very
chaotic.
Kind of loops. It's chaotic, and it's also what does Seth Rogen say in the 2nd episode about how things come around back to himself? What's that called? He used a term.
Bookend. Is it bookends?
Bookend. And a lot of sitcoms
and callbacks
do the bookend thing.
Right.
Bookends and callbacks.
Callbacks and bookends, right? Yes.
I love a good callback. I love a good callback.
I love it. Yeah. And there are every episode's that way, and that's just like Three's Company or whatever. That's how all sitcoms are. The old sitcoms of yesteryear were written. You come up with a crazy premise and follow the story. Same with Seinfeld too, and you would come back and ends with that same premise in some fashion.
You know what was beautiful about the first one?
When
he's talking to Cranston about the whole thing with Kool-Aid, and then he's talking to Scorsese, and Scorsese's talking about his movie, and then it clicked in my head, and I was like, "Oh my God, they're not going there." And they did, and it was it was beautiful. It was so good.
So maybe I should say we are totally for spoiler alerts. So you're gonna probably, if you're listening to this and you haven't watched it, you're too bad. You're gonna hear stuff you can just watch on TV, but we're gonna tell you first.
Go watch it anyway. Good.
Go try it. It's really good. I actually watched the series twice. I watched the first episode 3 times.
A show so nice you had to watch it twice or thrice.
That's right. So the first episode, Seth Rogen, his character Matt Remick, gets promoted, and Bryan Cranston tells him he is this close to nailing down the rights to the Kool-Aid character, and he wants a blockbuster movie made out of the Kool-Aid character. And Seth Rogen doesn't really like the idea, but he really wants the job, and takes upon himself. We're going to make the auteur's version of something out of Kool-Aid. So they scour Hollywood to find someone who could write a great script about Kool-Aid. Nick Scholar, who's done a bunch of comedies, comes in with a great idea, but he's not what Seth Rogen had in mind. And then he gets a meeting with Martin Scorsese. And Martin Scorsese has this great idea for a film. He's been working on it for years, and it's got a big budget. It's got $200 million, and it's about the Jonestown Massacre.
With Jim Jones.
Well, of course, Jim Jones,
Guyana.
and of course Seth Rogen,
where everybody was drinking the Kool-Aid.
Which is where the phrase comes from, right?
Yep.
That's right,
Don't
exactly.
drink the Kool-Aid.
So Seth Rogen puts those two together and said, hey, I'll make your movie and I'll give you $10 million for the script if you call it Kool-Aid.
Here's the name for it. Kool-Aid.
And Kool-Aid. So he thinks he's got this amazing, an amazing director, Hall of Famer, and he's got the Kool-Aid thing nailed down. And he's got a $200 million budget, actually $225 million, I think, budget. And he's going to make everyone happy, right? Anyone want to pick up the story from there?
Well, Cranston pretty much says, you're not making it, right? Oh, no, that's right. He's getting ready to tell Cranston he's going to make this movie. But Cranston pretty much intimidates him. And he said, well,
as everyone does.
Right.
Yes.
He folds, right? He folds.
He just folds.
So basically, he says, I'm going to pay him $10 million to not make the movie.
Catherine Hahn, who's head of the production, makes just this quick little vignette
Kind of marketing
of like the head of promotions. I mean, as a like just the Kool-Aid Man and like explosions and like a musical set and all this and
music.
We made a quick little teaser. And he winds up, instead of talking about Scorsese and this movie he's going to make, he shows him that instead. And Cranston just loves it. It's the greatest thing in the world.
There's no story.
Nothing.
There's just
a picture
of a video.
Guy and music and explosions, and it's the best thing in the world.
And Cranston says, oh, I love it. We're great. This is awesome. What's the story? And
then he tells him Stolar's story.
Right.
Yeah.
Tells them Nick Stolar's story, which is this kind of,
Kool-Aid lives in like the land of like Velveeta and like Kraft mac and cheese.
Land of logos, and there's 4 colors of Kool-Aid. And
we get all the flavors in, so it's, everybody's...
It's very diverse, yes. It's just perfect. It's totally Hollywood, right? It's Pixar, and it's everything all together. And, and by the way, what about this $10 million you paid for this crazy Jonestown script to Scorsese? Oh, that's so no one will ever make that movie.
Yeah.
Which is just putting a stake in the heart of one of the greatest filmmakers in America.
Because you can't make a movie about people drinking Kool-Aid and also make the movie about the Kool-Aid Man.
Yes, correct. Right. So maybe in real life, in the real world, you would, 10 years from now, you'd already come out with a blockbuster, but then 10 years from now, you make this last movie, last script of Scorsese's because you own it, right?
Yep.
And so he's totally flip-flopped. Seth Rogen's flip-flopped, so they got to get rid of. So they've already gotten rid of Stolar early on, but now they got to get him back. And the only way they can get him back is going to Catherine O'Hara, who's the fired former head of the studio, and she already had I can't remember her relationship with Nick Stolar, but Seth Rogen has to go to her house and basically plead and make a deal with her to get Nick Stolar back on this project, and Catherine O'Hara is I already see an Emmy for her from this, a nomination. She is so great as this veteran movie producer, studio head, who's now been kicked to the sidelines. She lives in some high hilltop mansion overlooking Hollywood, Los Angeles, and she's just totally just in depression because she's been pushed aside. And she was like him, like Seth Rogen at one point. She was making all these
big decisions,
artsy fartsy movie. Yep, and making bad decisions, and now she's gone. So Seth Rogen she's just this moment with her of her crying and whining and squealing and yelling and screaming at Seth Rogen is just, it's Emmy worthy.
Yeah.
It's just so great. It reminded me of it reminded me of a few people, but so she finally makes a deal. She gets a separate deal working for the studio as a producer on some separate projects, and so they get Nick Stoller back. And now they're what do they at the end of the movie, at the end of the show, they have to, end of the episode, they have to somehow they're gonna just let Martin Scorsese flop in the wind. Except they run into him at a party at Charlize Theron's house, and he figures it out pretty immediately that they dumped him, and there's something weird, and it's so cringeworthy and so uncomfortable. And then as they're leaving the party, they also run into, of course, the star that would have been of that movie, Steve Buscemi, who, of course, the studio hated already as a concept, as a leading man. It is quite funny.
They were sitting around the room talking about this big artsy movie they're going to make, and they're like, "Who is going to pay to see this movie?" No one. No one wants to see this movie, and they're talking about Buscemi, and no one can say his name correctly.
Buscemi.
And Catherine Hahn's like, "How am I marketing this when there isn't anybody in this room who even knows how to say the guy's name?" Who wants
Catherine
this?
Hahn, by the way, is on I don't know what the hell she's on this show.
She's on a higher level. But what's interesting is they do a callback when they meet Buscemi. They say his name wrong, and he corrects them because they still don't know what his name is.
Those little things are
so
freaking great. They're so great. Angie said earlier about the Marx Brotherian way.
Oh my God!
It's kind of shot. There's a lot of scenes are very long. It's one shot, right? And there are a lot of running. There's just running. They're running running in the studio, running down a hall.
If the Marx Brothers had the tech they have today, the movable cameras and all this crazy stuff, can you imagine what a Marx Brothers movie would have been like?
Oh, it'd be almost like
they were already insane.
Yes, with two cameras.
Yeah, just imagine what they would be like today.
With two stationary cameras.
Uh-huh.
There's a scene. There's what I cannot remember what happens. I believe it's in the first episode when Seth Rogen is running up a stairs with his assistant, who ultimately becomes, I think her name is Chase Sweet Wonders. She plays Quinn Hackett. She's Matt's assistant, but then he elevates her to creative something or other. He's running up the stairs to his office, and he trips. If you notice at one of the very top steps. I'm sure that's not in the script, but they just kept going, and it's that's very madcap. You just keep going. It's one shot. Whatever happens, happens. And he doesn't stop. He just keeps going.
I don't know if that's true because he falls in every one of these episodes.
That's true. This is not
and everything. Some wonder, was that an accident or is that the first of the falls?
Maybe
because
he's just so clumsy. He's clumsy.
He's so
clumsy.
So clumsy.
I thought by the third episode, I was thinking, there's a very Dick Van Dyke quality to him. He's he's a lot. He's bumbling, right? He's bumping into things. He's just a little bit, his body moves faster than he is, and he can't control. He's like the bull in the china shop.
It's a lot like all the great comic pairs. The two of them are Marx Brothers-y. They're a little Abbott and Costello-y. They're a little Martin and Lewis. The Dick Van Dyke's everything. They're like stealing from everyone in this, and but it plays really well. That frenetic, overly energetic, kind of crazy banter back and forth, and the physical comedy really works.
Frenetic is great, and we didn't talk about Ike Barinholtz. Ike Barinholtz is Sal Saperstein.
Yeah,
was an executive, very close friend. You can almost argue that they're best friends. He and Seth Rogen. And he was hoping that he was going to get the studio lead job, and he didn't get it. So he's whatever he is, an executive. So there, and he's a little more buttoned down, but he's really knows things. He's he's been around the tracks, and his banter with Seth Rogen is great. Them together in every episode is just hilarious. If it was they could do a buddy cop film together, these guys would be amazing. And you're right, they're Abbott Costello. Yep. They're you name it. They're just a great tandem together. It's a really funny first episode, which I was just, whoa, I'm in. I'm sold. I can't wait for the next episode. It's so great, and I was surprised that my wife actually loved it too. We were both laughing out loud as we.
Well, I'm watching it with number 2 son. He seems to enjoy it as well.
Yeah, so. I've recommended to quite a few.
You know what it also
already,
has to feel like? What's his name? David O. Russell. It's got that kind of just crazy energy. Yeah. Like Flirting with Disaster or Silver Linings Playbook. Just that lots of energy. The music's going crazy. The music actually starts to make you nuts after a while.
A little bit,
because it's just like, oh my God, with the drumming. It's like Whiplash for a couple seconds.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's giving me Whiplash. I'm like, oh my God.
It's a really, as crazy as it is, it's a really great homage to Hollywood, to filmmaking. I mean, it definitely skewers a lot of the business side of things and just the details that go into making a film, the behind the scenes stuff that we generally don't see. But there is a love of film. There's a love of movies, and Seth Rogen, you can tell, is a movie lover. And his character is a real movie lover. He believes in directors. He believes in storytelling, and he wants that to be his mark on this studio. Whether that happens, we will find out in future episodes. So, episode 1, the studio, Apple TV Plus.
Yep.
It was called The Promotion, by the way, that episode. Why don't we take a break here and maybe hop on another whiskey, and we'll talk about episode 2 next.
Sure. Twist my arm.
Sure.
Twist.
Mike, what you got?
I got the same one.
Are you staying the same?
Same way. Still Henry McKenna, single barrel, bottle and bond.
Especially in this crazy time we're in, maybe a little whiskey talk there for a second. People have been asking me for quite a while, of course, recommendations on whiskeys and things. And I always, if you don't want to spend a lot of money, and if you like bourbon, this is the greatest time to buy bourbon and rye. There is so much good bourbon and rye on the shelves in America at really inexpensive prices. I don't know what that can cost.
It might have
40?
been. It might have been 45 tops.
Yeah,
it's not
45
it's a bottle
tops.
and bond, which is again like
50%,
like a better bourbon, and it still wasn't very expensive.
Yeah. No, the Heaven Hill bottle and bond at Costco is, I think, it's $39.
Yeah,
you cannot.
They have articles every year where it comes out, and it's basically if you're drinking, if you're spending more than $50 for a bottle of bourbon, you're probably doing it wrong. You're paying for a name or a label, and you can find many quality bourbons for a lot less.
Oh my God! You can go down to the $20 level and get an Evan Williams that is pretty darn decent.
Evan Williams single back,
great for cocktails,
or a Four Roses.
Yeah,
or Four Roses. Yeah,
I mean, they're delicious.
And we've also talked about how they've been overproducing.
Yeah, so it's only going to get cheaper. Kentucky. Probably when they start getting rid of this stuff.
Yeah, for import now they can't send it anywhere, so there'll be a
nope. It's going to stay here.
Bring on the tariffs. Bring on the tariffs.
You know what? You might be able to get that Blanton's for $60 again.
Yeah,
can't send it anywhere.
I think that high end stuff is probably not going to come down, but the lower end stuff. I mean, I think it's there's just so much of it they've got.
Okay.
Or you might see something that comes out for an older age, where typically bourbon is aged for longer periods of time, and you might see a few age statement now.
Can't say it
because there'll be a glut.
Yep.
Can't say
What do you got?
It is the High West
What is that?
Yippee-ki-yay.
Yippee-ki-yay.
Oh yeah, I haven't had
I
that
like
in
the
a
label.
long
I feel like a
time.
rootin' tootin' cowboy.
Rootin' tootin' ready for shooting?
Sure.
Or are you, going and throwing out a Bruce Willis movie with your Yippee-ki-yay?
Yeah.
You falling out of the Nakatomi Tower?
A little, what the hell's that movie? Die Hard.
Die Hard. Yeah.
Die Hard.
Christmas movie. Christmas movie.
Yippee-ki-yay. The great Christmas movie.
Something's chirping in my house. It's annoying me.
Is it a mouse?
No, it's probably a smoke detector.
I wouldn't worry about it.
Just a
Probably
smoke
fine.
detector.
Chirping.
Don't worry about that. Yeah,
Stay low.
Chirping.
Chirping.
pour your drink on it.
Chirping.
What are you heading in for?
I have
Oh, that's nice.
this one's kind of getting low on the. Let's see. I can't even get. There we go. There we go. This is an 8-year-old Kilkerran
Oh, Kilkerran. They're nice.
from Glengyle.
Yeah.
This is 8-year-old. This is pretty old. This is one of their first batches, I believe. This is cast strength, 56.2. Nothing fancy about it, but finally getting through it. Get a few more drams out of that one.
Yeah,
So,
that's the way I got. We redid the kitchen, and as we shuffled things around, I don't think I lost space. I just kind of reconfigured the space, so I didn't have as much room for as many bottles. So I had to go through a lot more inventory to say, you know what, don't open new. Work on what you have here, and
that's what I'm.
Stop with your eclectic taste. Finish something. Move on.
Yes.
So
yes,
it
feels
like
like
a little more work.
It feels like all of my Lefroy car chases are all at that 1 inch.
Not necessarily a drag, but maybe 3 glasses, and maybe I should take those as my next 3 and get rid of a bottle, and not open the new car chase and start drinking that one.
I've been on that for quite a while. I've actually been giving away a couple of bottles here and there that are down low and say, hey, you know what? You can have the rest of this. Okay, we're all reloaded. We're going to talk about episode 2 of the studio. I just love the name of it. And I like, by the way, the graphics, the opening graphics, and the clothing.
It's like something else. It's like
the 1970s look to 60s.
it. Yeah, I love it. Yeah. It's great. Okay, so episode 2, it's maybe a little more complicated. Do you have a little synopsis of it?
Talk a little bit.
No, I have a longer one.
I'll find it. Hold on a second. Let me see. Episode 2 is the Oneer. The filming of an intricate sunset shot becomes complicated by Matt's set visit because he just can't help himself.
No. So, again, we have an episode where... Okay, so Matt's in the job now. Matt, Seth Rogen. And he likes to be hands-on. He wants to be on set. He wants when he can. And this is whatever movie this is, Sarah Polley is the director. And it's being shot at a Hollywood Hills mansion of some sort. And it's at sunset. And she is trying to get that last final one shot. No edits. And Greta Lee is the star. And she's going to be walking across a pool area and then ultimately getting to her car. It's the very last shot of this movie. Matt has to go see this. Seth Rogen has to go see this. He has to witness this. He needs to be there. And his partner tells him, do not do this. Do not do this. Ike Barinholtz tells him, you are crazy. We can go drinking at the Dresden. It'd be better to go drinking than you getting on the set, because when the studio head's on the set, everyone's like going to bow down to you. You know, everyone's on their tippy toes. It's just going to make everyone nervous. Let's not do this. No. I'll be fine.
They won't even know I'm there.
I won't even know I'm there. And you talk about Marx Brother in. This becomes very, very Marx Brother in. And you're going to say something?
No.
Oh, so they park. They get up the Hollywood Hill, up this little one-way street, one-lane street in the hills, park with this house where everything's being filmed. They go in there. Sarah Polley's behind the camera and behind the monitor, and behind her is also Catherine O'Hara. And Catherine O'Hara's just livid that Seth Rogen is here. She cannot handle. She just like freaking out. You cannot be here. You're going to screw everything up. And of course, he does ultimately. And
not ultimately, over and over again.
Yeah,
over and over again.
Notes
over and over again. He makes a mess of
to start off with. When he gets out of the car, he's in a suit, and he's and Ike Barinholtz says, you're in a suit, or maybe you realize that he's in a suit, and just I shouldn't be in a suit. I need to be like cool like everybody else is. So he goes. He wants to get a change of clothing while he's there, and of course they have costumes, right? They have a little wardrobe department on set, and so he goes and puts on whatever the wardrobe guy gives him. So he's dressed down. He's kind of more casual looking, and that's kind of the beginning of the hell that's going to take place the rest of the way. Anyone want to jump in?
Go ahead, Mike.
So he goes in and he starts talking to the director, who's trying to get a shot of a certain sunset. So there's like a 5-minute window, and he spends 3 minutes talking about Oneers, the Oneer, this special shot, and mentions every movie that's ever had one, and eats up all the time. And she's tolerating the discussion because she needs him to give her $800,000 so she can license a Stones song.
A Rolling Stones song.
And while she's listening to him offside, you have Catherine O'Hara's character talking to Ike Barinholtz's character saying, everyone is going to suck up to him because everybody wants something. Why is he here? He's going to ruin this. and then it cuts back to him, and she's just listening to everything he says and taking notes from him and all this other nonsense. And the one thing he says is, I love a callback. And I was watching the dailies, and in the very beginning, the character is smoking a joint. And wouldn't it be great if at the very end, the character was smoking a joint again? And this sets everybody off. The director now, Sarah Polley, now feels like, I got to incorporate this stupid note because I want him to give me money to buy this Stone song, which creates an even further delay because now they got to get someone to make up a joint to give to the actress so that she can go do these things.
Right.
It's just
Greta Lee is the actress who walks across the scene. The first take on this with the sun going down, the joint is lit, but it goes out. So they have to start over, and so they have to relight it and start over. And she, I think it's after that is the second attempt. Greta Lee runs into Seth Rogen, and as Catherine O'Hara pointed out, everybody's going to want something from you, so everyone's going to be nice. And she wants to go on a promotional tour using the corporate jet when the movie's finally released, Greta Lee. And she mentions how she loves this callback.
Yep.
Bookend. I think he says bookend. Bookend to the episode. Right, bookend. And how she loves that idea of having the joint come back again. Oh my God. And it's your idea? Oh my God. What a great idea. More sucking up to the studio head. That's amazing. And he's, this is great. So it falls apart rapidly throughout this whole thing. He wants one of the PA, the production assistants, a kid, wants to suck up to him too. He gets him clothing. He wants to get him, coffee. And of course, getting coffee on set is, oh great, I'll have this whatever blah 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 oat milk frappuccino drink, and he's got to get this coffee. And they decide the higher ups, Catherine O'Hara, to actually move him away from Ground Zero. They want to move him to his own little perch where he can watch on a monitor away from everyone else and not be disruptive.
His video village, his own video village.
His own video village, correct. And of course, that lasts about 5 seconds. He's making a mess. He wants to be in the middle of everything. He's too loud. That's one of the reasons. The first, I think, is the first take or the second take. He's just so loud, and Greta Lee can hear him whispering from afar. She's outside. He's inside the house. He's just being annoying, and he has no clue. He just thinks it's fine.
Well, in the first take, they get through the whole take, and at the very end of the take, she's got to take a drink and throw it in a guy's face. And they got to change his wardrobe, and Seth Rogen's wearing his wardrobe.
That's right.
So then they have to get another set of clothes for him instead. And this whole time, we've got 5 minutes to do this, and every mistake he makes is eating up more and more this time.
Correct. So finally, he kind of gets it. He has to. He knows he really cannot be on set. He's creating all these problems, and he says it early on in the episode. He really has to go to the bathroom. So he finally agrees with Ike Barinholtz. They're gonna leave, but he has to go to the bathroom first. And he's in this change of clothing, this pair of pants that he keeps complaining about, and he goes to the bathroom and he can't get the zipper down. He's it's a problem. And he finally is done. He walks out of this bathroom, which is a bathroom in this house where this shot being done. He walks out, he turns to the right, and Greta Lee is walking towards him, and he thinks, because he just had a conversation with her, that she's coming to talk to him. And he just starts talking to her. Except that's the middle of the shot. And behind him is a whole camera crew. And he's like, oh my God, I can't believe it. And he just runs, falls over a table or something.
Big glass table, breaks it all, bar cart, whatever.
He falls over. He's got this broken glass or broken nose and blood and everything. So they have to reset this whole thing up again. He's bleeding. They have to do this one. They're going to try to do this they have one last chance at this shot. And he's, everyone's just sucking up to him. Some medical person's on site, and he's trying to fix his nose while they're, he's supposed to be being quiet behind the monitor. He's, ouch, that hurts. He's really in pain. Sarah Pauly is just like dying that this is, not working right. And they finally, get this last version of the last time of the shot, last edit going. It's going well. It's going great. And her character has to walk through the house, outdoors, and to a car to leave the premises. She gets to the car. She gets in the car. She can't go anywhere because Seth Rogen parked his car in front of hers with the license plate that says STD
head
HED, which he thought meant studio head, but it actually was. Everyone says it as STD head. And of course, can't find his keys because his keys are in his pants, which are now in the wardrobe area because he'd switched pants. So he has to run in, find his pants, find the keys. There's a million pairs of pants that look the same. And he and Ike Barinholtz finally drive off into the sunset, and they find.
They missed the sunset. They blew the sunset.
They blew the sunset. They get a phone call from Sarah Pauly who says they didn't get from Sarah or from maybe Catherine O'Hara that they didn't get the shot.
What's great is as they're coming down the driveway from the house, you can see the sun setting.
It's dark,
and you hear him say, "You think they got the shot?" His buddy's like, "Oh yeah, they got the shot. They got the shot."
Hey, by the way, speaking of the Dresden, weren't you there recently?
I'm sorry.
Didn't you go to the Dresden recently?
I've never been inside the Dresden. I've been by it a million times. You
went somewhere.
I want to
go.
It's in Silver Lake.
Oh, but you went to some. You went to some famous one of the bars, didn't you?
Where'd
you go? What's the other
Frank's.
one?
He hangs out at the Viper Room, right?
That's right.
Not the Viper
That's
Room.
Right.
Oh yeah, I know the other one I was at. I know you're talking about. I'll think of it. It's on Melrose. I'll think of it. I know what you're talking about. No, another old Hollywood hangout. So another madcap, crazy episode. And of course, it's all about Seth Rogen really loving movies, but too much.
Yeah,
He cannot,
like a big
he cannot
kid.
stop himself.
Like a big kid.
Yes.
Where he just
He's
gets
like a big
separated
kid.
smother.
his job from his love.
Right? Is that
and
the
it
word?
ruins everything.
He's like a smother.
Yeah.
Not a mother, a smother.
Yeah, he smothers and he
Micromanages.
A ruiner.
Micromanages. He's a ruiner.
He's a ruiner.
He's a micromanager, but not in the way of an annoying manager. He's in love with this craft. He's really romantic. He really loves this whole process, and he wants to be a part of it in some way. And he doesn't see that he's doing bad. A micromanager, like an executive, is going to really, really be control freak.
It would almost be better if he was a micromanager.
Maybe.
It probably would be.
Instead, he's just a meddler. He just seems to ruin everything. And what was
he
interesting,
doesn't even know it.
is the very beginning of it. They mentioned that if they don't get this shot, they lose Greta Lee for 10 days or something because she's got to go do something else. And
Yes.
he ruins everything. And you're like, well, now they can't finish that movie because they got to wait for her to come back from wherever she was and try to get this shot again.
Yes. It's just a plethora of madcap mistakes.
Again, it's mistake on top of mistake.
It's
on
all
top of
him.
mistake.
And it's all about getting this one shot. You get one chance at it. Well, really, I think you have 3 chances in this, but they ultimately don't get it. And she at the very end, where is it? At one point, he finally gives in and says, Seth Rogen. She asked, "Can I get the $800,000 for the Stones movie, the Stones song? If you can't get what's that song called? If you can't,
you can't always get what you
Can't
want.
always get what you want.
Which is the ending song of the show and the episode." And he finally says yes because he's done so many made so many stupid mistakes. He's got to say yes to this, and he says yes. He basically says yes to everybody throughout the whole episode, right? And he's being walked over. So it'll be interesting to see how his character develops over the season. Does he grow? Does he get some backbone? Does he figure out that he's got to stay away? Or is it going to be just this kind of this craziness on every episode? Really funny. I laughed probably harder the second time when I watched it because I saw more things that I didn't see the first time.
Well, with all that energy and how fast this thing is moving, it's easy to miss stuff.
Yeah, you missed something.
Because you're just trying to follow the plot. Then the second time you could pay attention to the details.
Yeah.
I wish we had the dialogue for the episode. Catherine O'Hara is so funny because she's sitting in a second row of chairs behind Sarah Polley and the assistant director as they're watching the scene take place on a monitor with headsets. And whatever Seth Rogen does or says, behind him is Catherine O'Hara with some little short comment that is so biting and so funny. It is, but she's whispering it because you're not supposed to be loud. You're supposed to be quiet on set. And she's just so good. She's just great. I just think she's so funny in the whole scene, the whole episode, the whole series so far. Any other thoughts on that one, guys?
Oh, it was great. It was just ridiculous. It was absolutely ridiculous. And it was it was even more frenetic than the first episode. It was even more crazy
most definitely
than the first episode.
Yes.
Which you wouldn't think it can get any crazier, but it does.
Yeah. And the concept of it's really great too, because that kind of, that whatever the scene is, all scenes in a movie, you want that scene to be perfect as a director, and you don't need all this nuttiness going on around you. And the bull in the china shop comes in, who happens to be the studio head, and that alone makes it sort of, like when your boss comes into the room, yep. Right? Everyone's changed, and that his presence alone is bad, but then his personality and his actions make it 1,000 times
Even
worse.
worse.
so much worse. So episode 2 of the studio, The Oneer. We just went through that one. A reminder to everybody, this is What We Watch When We Drink. Boozdancing.com is our live stream podcast. You'll be able to download this one in about a week or so and listen somewhere. And don't forget that you can watch these two gentlemen on screen with me at the murder table, reviewing all kinds of spirits and all kinds of spirits on a pretty often basis on our website, boozdancing.com, and all of our social medias. And should we get a third whiskey now, or should we just go into episode 3?
Well, I got a third whiskey, so I'm going.
Third whiskey it is.
We're going.
Third whiskey, Mike. We know what yours is. Is it the McKenna? Is it the McKenna Bottle and Bond?
Henry McKenna, single barrel bottle
Yes.
and bond.
Oh wow! What a shot!
It looks very similar to the last two.
Really? Well, look at that.
Shockingly.
Maybe it's the third expression.
Shockingly,
Shocking.
very similar.
Oh, I'm up in the ante on this one.
What's this
I'm
one?
trying not to.
Well, this is from our fine friends at Barrel Bourbon.
Oh,
Oh,
This is a Barrel Vantage, a blend of straight bourbon whiskeys finished in, wait for it, Mizunara, French, and toasted American oak.
what was that called?
It's Barrel Vantage.
Barrel Vantage.
And it comes in at a, humble 57.22%.
Hey now.
soft whiskey with a 5.
Very soft, very soft. Very
Wow.
soft.
And that was from the
Barrel Craft
Mark
Spirits.
Gillespie,
Yes,
from the Mark Gillespie.
stash.
I was going to say bazaar, flea market.
Yes. Yes.
The free for all.
Yeah, exactly.
The
That
free
was
for
it.
all.
That was it. It was a battle royal.
Yeah.
It was a battle royal. Oh my god!
I have
wow.
I have another single cast nation. I don't know what year was this one from. This is an 8-year-old Kalila, 61.4%. This is 8 years in a refill Oloroso sherry butt, bottled in 2019. One of 480 bottles. It's Kalila. I like Kalila, so I'm having Kalila. And I may go back to the Kalila. Ooh, it's lovely.
Oh my!
Now this
goodness.
one's another bottle-ish kill for me.
my.
It's
Yeah.
another 1 incher, Mike.
my.
Another 1 inch.
Oh my!
Oh my good
That's
or am I
pretty
bad?
good. Yeah, that's kind of funky. That's some.
So had you not had that
No,
before?
no.
Aaron, you need a dregs night.
I do. Yeah, I know. I've been like you, Mike. I've been pulling out the short ones as much as possible, and I never finish one.
Yep.
And,
You need a dregs night to finish them all off.
yes, indeed.
Fill the recycle bin.
Delicious. Yeah. Oh, there's nothing better than getting one of a bottle. Oh my gosh, it's the best these days. In the old days, it was nothing better than getting a bottle. Now there's nothing better than getting rid of a bottle.
Well, then I get to open one.
Alrighty.
It's a twofer.
Yeah, that's right. Okay. Episode 3, which came out last week of the studio. Again, this is on Apple TV Plus. The studio with Seth Rogen, Ike Barinholtz, Catherine Hahn, Catherine O'Hara, and Chase Sui Wonders, it's a really nice, by the way, talking casting, it's a nice group of 5. They're the main group. And then you've got all these people that the rotating folks that are going to come in and out.
Yeah, the
the
extended cameos. Yeah.
Extended cameos, and we may or may not see other folks from the studio. We had Bryan Cranston in the first episode as the president or CEO of the company, but we haven't seen anyone else from the studio. So we'll see if those folks show up at some point. Anybody else?
Yeah.
Okay, episode 3 is called The Note. And do you have anything on The Note?
Matt,
This is a very interesting episode.
Matt feels nervous about giving legendary director Ron Howard a difficult piece of feedback. The Note.
Yep, that's a very good note.
Yeah.
That's a very good synopsis.
What I loved is the experience everyone has when you go to the movies, and they keep doing the cutaway to say, if 15 minutes in, 45 minutes in, an hour and a half, 2 hours in, and it's the movie's so great, the movie's so great, the movie's so great. And the point of this one is at 2 hours, it's a great movie. And they get up to leave, and there's 45 more minutes of the movie. And the note is, get rid of the last 45 minutes.
Yes.
And it's who's going to deliver the note? How are we going to deliver it? What are we supposed to do? And the whole premise was just, you made a great movie, and then you ruined it. So you got to fix this. Get rid of it.
Well, it was funny though,
Correct.
because with this episode, I thought it got a little tedious towards the middle, but then they just kind of they turned it around and it just revved it up, and it just they stuck the landing, as they say.
They seem to have too many people who didn't want to deliver the note. If they had just cut one more, like one less person to say no, I think it would have been a little sharper.
Right.
But they picked it up at the end. They really picked it up.
I got a little concerned. I was like, oh my God, is this going to keep going like this?
Yeah.
It's starting to drive me crazy.
Yeah. It's almost the same joke over and over again.
But then they pulled it back together again, and it was pretty damn good, I have to say.
So Ron Howard is the director of this movie, and as Mike said, these four folks, not Catherine O'Hara, are watching a screening of the film for the first time in a private studio on the Continental Studios lot, and they just are excited about it. It's Ron Howard. He's great. He's won Academy Awards. He's just amazing. And as Mike said, they go through this movie, and at 2 hours, it ends. It feels like it ends, and it's just awesome. And they're all excited. And then there's another 45 minutes. It's almost a different movie. Yeah. The other 45 minutes, and the movie stars Anthony Mackie. I believe his name is. Because I think isn't he in some Marvel movies or
Marvel movies, Hurt Locker, a bunch of different things.
Okay, I'm not totally familiar with it, but he's the other major cameo in this, and they all walk away from seeing this movie that the 45 minutes at the end are just fluff. It's just in the end the marketing. Yep, Catherine Hahn said, "I can't sell this movie. It's too long. It's boring. No one's going to sit through this. We're going to lose, 2 showings of it per day. Per showings per day because it's too long, and it's not going to sell." And we gotta tell him. And as studio head, Seth Rogen has to tell him.
That's your job.
That's his job.
That's your job.
It's your job. And of course, he can't do it because that's Matt. So he passes the buck.
Wait. He can't tell him for a certain reason, though.
Well, we know that at the end.
We
find that out later.
To Ron Howard.
Yes, we find that out later. Yes. He tries to get first. He tries to do it himself. He does try to do it himself, and he can't do it. He just falls apart. Doesn't do it with meeting Ron Howard in the lobby. He can't do it. And then he goes back up and tries to get his assistant, Chase Sweet Wonders, Quinn, to do it. And she's, "I'll do it. You guys are a bunch of wusses. I'm going to do it." She's like the new young brash kid. "I'm going to do it." She goes down to tell him, Ron Howard, except Anthony Mackie walks into the door, and she's just totally
starstruck.
Just
so
starstruck. She can't put 2 words together. All she can, she's, "Oh my God, you're an amazing actor. Oh my God,
I loved you. I love you.
I love you. I love your acting. I love you." She cannot put 2 words together, if that makes sense. And she can't give the note that she was going to give to Ron Howard.
Very similar to the way I review whiskey. I just can't give the note. I just love whiskey. I do. I love whiskey.
See, that's a bookend for this whole show, this episode. And then Seth Rogen talks to Catherine O'Hara, who is the producer of this film, and she knows for herself that is last 45 minutes is killer. It's death, but she can't tell him, Ron Howard, either. And no one should, because this movie is so personal. And she tells Seth Rogen why it's so personal. And it's so personal because the last 45 minutes are basically an homage to a deceased cousin of Ron Howard's in real life. And that's why he made this movie. Oh no, that's really tough. How are you going to get out of that? Seth Rogen tells his little group of folks that's the problem. And he has an idea. Maybe someone that has a dead cousin in this group can, kind of relate to Ron Howard and kind of get him to understand that this is not the best way to have an homage to your cousin. And no one has a dead cousin. So our boy, Ike Barinholtz, lies to Ron Howard and says he has a dead cousin. And he really understands the meaning of this movie. And it's really tough. And, but he can't really give him the note either. So strike three, right? Three people can't give him a note. And then there's a big meeting with the executives and marketing people and all about how they're going to market this movie. And this is when Seth Rogen's finally going to do it. He's going to finally tell Ron Howard why. But he has this background in this with Ron Howard that he thinks Ron Howard doesn't remember. 20 years before, he had seen a test screening of A Beautiful Mind. Is that right?
Beautiful Mind. Yeah.
And everyone, all these famous directors are there, and everyone loved this movie. And somehow does anyone have any notes for Ron Howard? Kind of more of a joke. And Seth Rogen says, yeah, I have a note. And he's basically, I can't remember what the note was about. The note
was basically that the Paul Bettany character was figment of his own imagination.
But let everybody in early that they all know it's a figment of his imagination
throughout the movie, right? Not the big kicker at the end, right? And Ron Howard, I guess, flipped out at that, couldn't believe it, and laid down the law at that 20 years ago that meeting. So there they have history, and they're in this group meeting, and Ron Howard's talking about this, and he brings this up about how little Seth Rogen, who was starting out his career, brought up this whole thing to me 20 years ago about my movie, A Beautiful Mind. And he's saying this in front of this entire conference room of people.
And
Seth
cursing
Rogen
him out, and yelling and dropping
cursing him out, and making fun of him, and basically talking about, did you get the same note too? It mentions every movie with a plot twist ever. It says, did you say they should have done this?
Fun.
Did you go up to M. Night Shyamalan and say, hey, what if one of the ghosts just said, hey, when's Bruce Willis going to know he's dead? and what I love in that whole scene is Anthony Mackie, off to the side, agrees with them that the movie's too long and that whole last scene doesn't work and it needs to get cut. But then in that particular scene, when Ron Howard's just going off on Seth Rogen's character, he jumps in and does it too. And Seth Rogen looks to him and says, what are you doing? He's like, oh, but this is funny. This is funny. Oh, okay. Pile on.
And he's got a back end percentage on the movie too, because
he's a producer.
He's an actor producer. So Seth Rogen just freaking loses it and just goes off, and that's kind of the end of the episode.
Well, wait.
End of the.
He goes off. He stands up.
Yes.
And then he falls over again for his third fall in 3 shows, because Ron Howard tries to go after him. And Ron Howard,
he throws his hat
who
at
everyone thinks is like the most affable person in the world, has to be held back from taking a swing at him, which is just so funny because that's not Ron Howard. At least you don't think it is. Maybe that's
not Opie. That's not Richie
Cunningham. And he's dropping F-bombs and trying to go after him, and it's just so funny.
And Seth Rogen does a walk later after this scene, and he's walking alone, mirroring the bookending,
of the movie. Yeah.
This 45 minutes of the movie where it's just basically Anthony Mackie and a little kid walking in various places and looking up at the sky and looking at pools of water, and very melodramatic. And this is Seth Rogen doing exactly the same thing around the studio, and finally gets a phone call from Seth Rogen, from Ron Howard, who apologizes for lashing out, and Seth Rogen apologizes, and Ron Howard agrees that 45 minutes is not necessary, and so that's a really interesting part of it too, because this arguably that movie is going to do well,
right?
Because that
you trimmed it down, you fixed
cut
it.
out,
yeah.
Right. We don't know what happens in the movie in the previous episode, but we know that this movie is going to be made the right way and probably do very well.
But the end of the call is great, though, where Ron Howard recaps and it says,
yes.
So I say I'm wrong, and then you say you're wrong, and then we're good. And then finishes like, but if you ever mess with me again, and he like, again, threatens to kill him and all, and you're just like,
you will never work in this town again. Yes.
Ron Howard is so mean.
It's great because it's Ron Howard, right? The only America's favorite kid.
We could do a later episode with Tom Hanks going after him, because he's another guy that everyone
yes.
thinks is the greatest guy in the world.
Yes.
Tom lays him out. Great episode.
I read an article, or maybe it was on Stern, I can't remember which, where Seth Rogen was talking about Scorsese and Ron Howard. He'd never met either. Right. They never met. Him and his partner, Evan Goldberg, had never met them. And there's larger than life to Scorsese for sure.
Even though he's very small.
And
he's very small.
He's very small. And they weren't even sure this. I think Seth Rogen said, we weren't really even sure if Scorsese knew who we were. Because man's like 80 something, right? Ron Howard, he's just, a really nice guy. Again, does he know who we are? And they've never met, and he just agrees to do this and play this like outlandish version of himself. And they both said yes to this, and it's really kudos to the team of the studio, Evan Goldberg and Seth Rogen and company, to be able to get these kinds of people to agree to come onto this show and either make fun of themselves or be made fun of or whatever in these episodes. It's just great. Because if it was just a regular actor playing a director, it wouldn't be as good. It would not be as funny if it was somebody playing a guy like Ron Howard.
Yeah, and I think because you probably have a preconceived notion of who these people are, to see them play some blown up, ridiculous portion of themselves is just hysterical. It's hysterical. Like when you see Scorsese and they're telling him, you bought my movie and you killed my deal. And then they cut to Buscemi, and Buscemi's telling him, it's so great you're doing this. This is his last movie. What an honor it is for all of us to be involved in this movie. And then as they leave Buscemi, you hear him going, Martin, are you crying? Because you don't think Martin Scorsese is going to cry. He makes mob movies. He doesn't cry.
Actually,
are you crying?
What would have been great? Have you both seen Taxi Driver?
Yeah.
You know the scene where he's in the cab, in the back seat of the car, and he's talking about the 44 Magnum, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, and he's watching this, basically this other guy sleeping with his wife. If he would have gone off like that, that would have been a spectacular callback.
Yes, it would have been.
That would have been fun.
I think it's great where he's just sitting there crying.
Oh, it was great. It was good.
Scorsese doesn't cry. He's Scorsese.
No. Yeah, it's really great. With the ongoing callbacks, bookends, whatever you want to call them, and having this kind of big names of Hollywood be a part of the show, really lend a lot of credence and value to it.
Wow. They're also
it makes it really funny.
It helps that they're all sucking up to Apple Studios because they got like deep pockets.
Yeah.
No doubt.
That doesn't hurt.
No doubt.
When Seth Rogen calls, they don't pick up, but when Apple calls, they pick up twice.
Yeah.
Oh, but you got what? How many trillions of dollars? Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay. Whatever you want, Apple.
Twice.
Well,
the other thing that I think is funny is that it actually looks like they're making some sort of like little trailer movies of these movies, like the thing with Ron Howard with Anthony Mackie.
Yeah,
it looks like they actually made something. Like,
you're right.
Well, you actually made some kind of little snippets of a movie here. This is great.
They did. Yes, you're right.
Crazy.
They're making actually go back to the first episode. The very first episode starts with a movie scene being shot
of
I don't know who that character is, or that if that person's the director. Someone is someone.
It's Peter Berg.
Who's the director?
That's
The
right.
director's
It's Peter Berg,
It's
right? It's Peter
American
Berg,
Primeval
right?
guy.
Yeah.
That's right. And they're shooting a scene in the dead of winter. A bad guy gets shot. He's dying, and then some other bad guy comes up and finishes him off against a car with a gun. And it's snowing. It's blowing, and you don't know what. This is the very first episode of the studio, the first scene of the first episode, and cut. And then all of a sudden, the director walks in, and you can see sunlight behind. It's fake snow. And the guy gets up, and the guy that gets shot, and did I do that scene okay? And he's got blood coming from his nose, and then Seth Rogen walks in as a studio guy, not the studio head, as a studio guy who wants to put his 2 cents in.
And they want nothing to do with him because he's not the head.
Nothing to do
he's
with
just a guy. So.
He's just a guy. He's just another studio. He's a suit who walks in. Yep. Another suit, and yeah. So what you said, Mike, they are making scenes of movies in this TV show, the studio, which really, and they're very real, and they're done very well. I mean, they're done like you're seeing it from the back end, you're seeing it from the director's point of view and the crew's point of view, and maybe the actor's point of view, all for a reason, because you're trying to get the audience into a Hollywood set.
And the star of that movie is Paul Dano. The star of
who is that?
The star. He's an actor. He's been in a lot of things. The star of the second movie is Greta Lee. The star of the third thing is Anthony Mackie and not James Franco, Franco's brother, Dave Franco. So it's like these are real actors who you can honestly see in real movies.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like it's not like they're just again bringing their friends in to do stuff. It's like these are real people, and the directors are real directors. They're not just like Peter Berg's a director.
It looks like
Sarah Polley's a director. Ron Howard's a director. They're really directors.
It looks like a fun show to make, although very complicated. I heard Rogan talking about how complicated each episode is, the way they're shot. Because there are some really long scenes, but it's really fun. I mean, so 3 episodes, 3 for 3, all fun, all funny. I can't wait for the 4th episode. I mean, I'll watch it after we go off the air tonight. It's so fun.
I also wonder if a big part of this is that you're getting such big name people involved that the logistics for the amount of time they have to be in this, it's like you got us for like 4 hours on a Tuesday, and that's it.
Yeah,
that's what we got.
Maybe
I got to get back to my real job. I can't be doing this with you.
Yeah,
where it's not like a typical TV show where Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday we do a run through. On Friday we shoot. It's like they're probably doing snippets all week long of grabbing this person while I can get them before they're on to their next thing.
Yep. Let's talk a little bit about the castle, the individuals. Seth Rogen has had a very interesting career, right? He started really young. He was doing stand-up comedy in Vancouver, like at the age of like 15 or something like that.
Freaks and Geeks. And he's another guy out of the Freaks and Geeks, right?
Yes.
Freaks and Geeks guy.
Just look at that cast. They're all stars.
They're all stars. And then he goes on, he just gets into the whole Apatow world, right? And does all those Apatow early kid movies. And then at some point, I don't know, maybe in the last 10 years, he decides to kind of get away from the screwball comedies and start making some serious comedies. And I think he's done a couple of serious movies too. He's been a little bit all over the place. And this is him kind of coming back to the screwball stuff, I think. But it's screwball with a lot of brains.
Yeah, I'd say this is more like the cerebral comedy kind of stuff you're into now.
Most definitely. Yes.
It's a much bigger deal.
Right. It's not about, and even that's a lot of what he is today. It's not about pot smoking and being high all the time.
By the way, I look at his IMDb. He's got 59 producer credits, 126 acting credits, 31 writing credits. So he's a pretty prolific guy. I mean, the guy's working his
Well,
butt
He
off.
and
is.
his writing partner, the two of them make a lot of things together. Evan
Right.
Goldberg, they do a lot of
They
stuff,
do.
and they
They
produce
do.
together, write together, and direct together.
A little fact about Evan Goldberg. I think they grew up together, as I recall. I'm not sure of that. I would say pre-pandemic, a number of years ago, let's say 10 years ago, my family and I would go to a lot of places. We had a place here in my town where one night a week at a school there'd be a bunch of food trucks, and they'd have a band, and it was all about going to see the food trucks, right? And one food truck that was there, kind of frequently, I believe, was a poutine food truck.
Ooh.
I know. Who owned that poutine truck? Evan Goldberg.
Huh.
Wow.
Yeah, there you go. There's my Evan Goldberg story.
We last year we went down at spring training and we went to a Phillies Blue Jays game at the Blue Jay Stadium, and they served poutine. So I had to get it. And my son and my wife were both like, "You are terrifying. You'll eat just anything, won't you?" That's the most disgusting looking thing ever.
No, that's not true, because they haven't eaten with me.
It was so good. Well,
It's
that's
the
true.
best. It is the best. That is the best.
You'll eat anything.
Okay,
Mike.
so
I'll eat anything plus the kitchen sink.
Yeah.
Oh, yum
Yes.
yum.
They don't eat innards.
Iron.
You're about the innards. No innards.
The Seth Rogen is just a funny guy. I mean, he's a funny guy in we don't see him in real life, but you can imagine he's a funny guy just sitting around talking, right? He's a funny guy in talk shows. He's a funny guy. One of the best episodes of Dave Chang's live cooking show, oddly enough, was with Evan Goldberg. I'm sorry, with Seth Rogen and Ike Barinholtz. It's two guests per episode, and Chang cooks for them. The two of those guys, and we had no idea at the time that this studio thing, this is at least a year ago, that these guys would be coming up with this show, or it probably was already being done. They were just hilarious together, the two of them. Ike Barinholtz is a funny guy on his own. He was most known for being on the Mindy Project, the Mindy Kaling sitcom for 3 or 4 years. He was this crazy nurse on the show. He's so funny. He's hilarious. Weird thing about his family is his dad is a judge, a real judge, and he's done a little bit of side acting.
The dad?
And that show, his dad's probably in his 70s. He's a real judge. And there was that show that came out last year that was a kind of a reality show where they took a guy who's here in LA and they put him on a jury.
Oh, it was the thing with James Marsden.
Oh, the juror.
Where everybody's
James
on
Marsden.
the guy. He thinks
Except
he's
the
really
guy.
on jury duty, but he's not. And everyone in it is an
Jury.
actor
It was called
in
jury.
Right. But everybody's an actor in it.
Who was the judge?
He was the judge, right?
Ike Barinholtz's dad.
Spoiler alert.
Who was
I've
awesome.
seen episode 4. He's in episode 4.
Oh, Judge Ike's dad? Oh, that's great. That's awesome. Well, we didn't talk about, I don't know much about, what's her name? Chase Sweet Wonders. I don't know her at all. Catherine Hahn, you guys know her probably than I do. She's just a star in this thing. She reminds me a little bit, her frenetic attitude, her yelling and screaming, her noisiness reminds me a bit of Elaine on Seinfeld, so a little bit like Julie Louis-Dreyfus. She's great.
Yeah, but like Julia Louis-Dreyfus.
I know I've seen her before. I know I've seen her a million times. I don't know where I've seen her, but she's very funny.
She's in Bad Moms, which is a great comic ensemble for women.
She's in Step Brothers. She's hysterical.
She's in Step Brothers playing the sister-in-law.
She's in what was the Marvel one?
She's in a
couple Marvel.
She's in a Marvel.
Yeah.
She was just in the last one, Agatha All Along, and before that she was in the one with Scarlet Witch.
Right.
So
Okay.
she's been in. She's got a good bit of work behind her, and a lot of it's varied, but she usually plays a character not quite there, a little bit different for dramatic effect or for comedic effect. But she's very
and last of the main group, Catherine O'Hara. Well, she's just SCTV stalwart. Last bit of amazing stuff was Schitt's Creek,
Schitt's Creek.
where she was amazing. But she was in many movies, Home Alone, all the Home Alones, and wherever else. She's just she's aged as an actress amazingly well, as a comedic actress. She's as funny now as not doing skits as she was when she was doing skits.
She's awesome. And by the way, we share a birthday.
Oh, really? That's very nice.
So that's just saying.
She's younger than you, though, right?
Yes. Isn't everybody?
She's a little younger.
Except Aaron. Isn't everybody?
Except me. Yes. Well, the studio on Apple Plus TV, we highly recommend it. I from what we
at least for the first 3 episodes.
First 3 were great, and I think there's like 9 more. There's like 12.
Yeah.
Oh, really? That's an odd number. So now we were going to end our this podcast, this episode, this live stream of what we watch when we drink on the Booze Dancing Entertainment Network. We were going to talk just about a few things that each of us things we're watching.
An hour and a half.
Well, are we an hour and a half?
A quick one. Say that for another round. Oh, you can save it for the next one. Save it for the next one.
Well, why don't we do one show? Each of us go around that we're either watching or that really impressed us right now.
Okay. I got one.
I'm going to do 2 because I like to grab things. Reacher, watching Reacher, it's a bit of a hit or miss because I don't know that this book was one of the better books, but Reacher is just tremendous. The acting in it, I think, is very good. And then The Night Agent is coming back again, and I can't wait to see The Night Agent as the next season of that. Ange, what are you doing?
Ange.
I have been watching Dope Thief on Apple TV Plus with what's his name, Brian Tyree Henry, who was in Widows and he was in Atlanta. He played Paperboy, and also it has Wagner Mora. He was in a couple episodes of Mr. and Mrs. Smith last year.
Yep.
And I don't know what else he's been in. He's getting a lot of work, but I'm really liking it. And I just watched episode 5 on Sunday, and it was fantastic. It was a lot of fun. Filmed in Philly.
Yeah.
They play Wagner and Brian Tyree Henry play Ray Driscoll as Brian Tyree Henry, and Wagner Mora is Manny Carvalho, and they're like best friends. They grew up together, and they live in Philly, and they came up with, and they both had their addiction problems, substance abuse, all this kind of stuff. But now they've come up with a scheme. Basically, they're going to be like, I don't know, sort of Robin Hood, except they're not giving anything to the poor. They're keeping it for themselves. But they're robbing basically low-level drug dealers, posing as DEA agents. But in one episode, they basically rob the wrong house, and all hell breaks loose.
Oops.
So, and Bing Rames plays Brian Tyree Henry's dad, who's in prison. And wasn't it Kate Mulgrew? I know she's been around for a long time.
Oh, yeah.
But she plays
She's great. She's from Star Trek.
Oh, okay. She plays a stepmom.
One in Star Trek.
And they're really the 4 people that are really famous in this. But it's really, really good. It's really good. They said it was filmed maybe a couple years ago in Philly. Might have been during the pandemic, but it's good. Oh, and
that's also on
Apple TV, yes. And Marin Ireland's in it also. She was on Sneaky Pete.
Oh, I like her.
She's really good.
Yeah, I love her. She's great.
She's really, really good in this. She plays an actual DEA agent. And she's very good. It's a gritty show. It's kind of funny. Brian Tyree Henry's fantastic. That guy he's awesome. His facial expressions alone are worth it.
And he's a Marvel guy.
On my list.
Is he a Marvel guy? What's he in now?
He was in Eternals.
Oh, was he?
Who isn't?
Yeah.
I had no idea.
It's crazy.
But he's really, really good.
It's stunning.
But I'm enjoying the show.
It's stunning how many people are Marvel guys.
It's ratcheted up, and episode 5 was great. So I'm really looking forward to seeing how it goes.
Anything else?
Oh, let me see. I'm really liking that. This is going to be stuff we recommend. And I watched Anora. We talked about doing an episode on Anora, because it won the Oscar.
That's the
Yeah,
Oscar-winning movie.
It won Best Picture. I don't know if it's Best Picture movie, but it is really good. It's really, really good. Not one to watch with the kids, because like the first 15 minutes, basically take place at a strip club. I'm not complaining, but I don't think I'd be comfortable watching it with my kids. But it's really good. It's actually really, really good. It's got a lot of good energy. It's got it feels like a 70s movie. It feels like something from the 70s, not 80s. It's really, really interesting. It's really well done. So I thought it was good.
Good. Mike, I actually watched the new season of Night Agent, and I really enjoyed it.
You gonna ruin it for me? And here are all the spoilers.
Nope.
Why you?
So the first episode, there's a lot of bookends. So I got just one that I just well, 1.5. I just finished on Apple also, Berlin ER, and it's a German-made show in an ER emergency room in a really crappy hotel that doesn't have enough money, not enough people, not enough money, and it's not so much like your regular medical procedure where it's the 2 or 3 injuries or medical events of the week. It's more a drama about the 5 or 7, 8 main characters. One woman is brought in to clean up this disaster. Well done, Michael. To clean up this disaster of an ER, and that many have kind of come in to try to do and have failed. She tries to come in to do it herself. She's coming from, let's say, she has some bad background of some sort. She comes in from Munich, I think, and she tries to clean it up. There's the other main character is a doctor who is also an addict and who's hiding it and and he's a trauma surgeon. It's really interesting. It gets into some really interesting issues that are not necessarily about Germany, but they're about the world. And it's very, very gritty. There's some similarities to The Pit, and then there's completely non-similarities.
Is it subtitled or dubbed?
It's all in German. You can just you can watch it in English or you can watch it in German. There is some English that gets spoken in the show, but it's in German. So that I finished. I highly recommend it. I just started watching. I heard about this, and I watched the first episode. It's an Israeli show. Apparently, the Israelis were making all these shows that were coming to America.
Right, the same 10 people making movies. And
same 10 people, right? And for whatever reason, that's kind of stopped. There's been a drought, and now there's starting to be this second wave of shows coming. And this one that it just hit
they got 10 more people.
Netflix
is that what it is? There's 10 new
people. It's weirdly, I don't recognize anyone in this show.
10 new people.
It's called Seven Figures. Yeah. And it's about how to explain this. It's about 4 groups of people who have won the lottery in Israel. And they can't get the money until they sit through like X number of sessions with a counselor and a group therapy, so that they don't blow the money in 3 weeks, right? But it's not about them so far it's not about them having the money. It's about them, what leads up to them getting to the money. And there's a young couple who are with the woman gets pregnant, and and the guy's got ideas of what he wants to do with this money, like to travel. And all of a sudden now he's going to be a dad. There's an older couple who the woman, like they live on a kibbutz. They're like in their 80s. She wants to give all their money when they get it to their kids, and just don't take any. We don't need any money. Why do we need money?
We're 80. We don't need anything.
We're 80. Why do we need the money? And there's there's another person, and there's one person that hasn't shown up yet, who for whatever reason we haven't seen this person yet, that they didn't show up to the first meeting of this group. Apparently it's not based in reality. That's not how lotteries work in
Maybe
Israel,
they should. But they should. So many of these people.
It's a really interesting. When I read that, I thought, wow, this is a really great idea. This doesn't happen. This is a really good idea of how to get people to understand what having all this money is going to mean to them in their lives.
They've done a thing where they said within 4 years or something, the people who win a lottery are actually financially worse off than before they won the lottery.
Yeah.
It's like some absurd percentage of people just... The reason you didn't have money before is because you can't handle money. So I give you a whole lot of it.
That's right.
You horribly mishandle it now.
And there's rules. This counselor actually has rules. You can't talk about this.
So like Fight Club?
You can't talk about you can't talk about the money because you don't have it. Can't talk about the money. And I'm going to the other two rules. But you can't you have to do these things and go through this like X number of weeks of counseling before you can actually get the money. And then there's even a delay to get the money after that. So, it's another young couple that they are going to get married, and they've got their own issues, and they need the money to pay for the wedding, and et cetera, et cetera. So they've got other issues. It's a really interesting concept for a story.
Right.
So I'm kind of excited about getting it. So first episode really got me.
Where's this one?
So those are my two. It's on Netflix. I'm sorry.
Okay.
It's called 7 Figures on Netflix. So it's in Hebrew, but you can watch it in English.
Okay.
Dubbed or
good, because I don't know any Hebrew. I barely know English.
We're cutting you off at 3.
Yes.
We're cutting you off at 3.
So there you go. We have had quite the episode. We have talked about a few things that we are watching or going to watch. And we went through the first 3 episodes of The Studio on Apple Plus TV. This has been What We Watch When We Drink. We highly recommend The Studio so far, and encourage all you folks to at least watch the first 3 episodes and maybe more. This episode of the podcast will be out next week, and we all had some interesting whiskeys. Mike had the McKenna Bonded Bond, and had various things from the Mark Gillespie Lollapalooza giveaway thon.
Whiskey Palooza.
And Mr. Krause.
2024.
It was a Boozanza. It was a Boozanza. I don't know.
Boozanza. Thank you, Mr. Gillespie. I've seen that corral of whiskey of his, and it's quite impressive. But a little bit lighter apparently now that you gentlemen have had.
Wow, you had to make room for more stuff.
A little more organized. A little more organized. There you go.
Shout out to Mr. Gillespie out there, and his wonderful website and podcast himself, WhiskeyCast. So there you go, guys. Thank you everyone for tuning in. You can get this thing on next week on a podcast on all the normal places. Don't forget to watch Mike and Angelo at the murder table reviewing various things. And we will see you on the other side.
Cheers.
Cheers, all.
Cheers.
Play us off.
If you enjoy this show, please subscribe on Apple, Spotify, Stitcher, Google, Audible, and anywhere else you get your podcasts. You can also find us on boozdancing.com. And if you have any questions, comments, show or drink suggestions, email us at boozdancing@gmail.com. We'd love to hear from you.